Okay, I have everything ready to make a simple marinara sauce. All you need is the fry pan, as we call it, or a skillet. We have the tomatoes. I use these. These are what I cut up for the tomato demonstration I did earlier. I'm chopping and slicing tomatoes. I've got one onion, all diced. I showed you how to dice onions earlier too. In the first chopping of tubes, we have 3 little cloves of garlic here that have been minced. Again, that was shown in an earlier one. We have 2½ teaspoons of oregano, a teaspoon of basil, some salt, pepper, and some olive oil. So we're simply going to start out by putting in about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the pan. We're going to turn the pan on to sort of a medium-high-ish. And we'll let that go for about 2 minutes to let the pan warm up. 2 minutes is up. You can see the olive oil in the pan. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here. And perhaps you can see that it is a little bit shimmering. So that's what that looks like. And now we're going to put the onions into the pan. And we're going to let them soften up for about 5 minutes or so. Many recipes will tell you to put in the garlic at the same time now, but I find garlic cooks a lot faster than the onions do, and so I'm going to add the garlic when there's only about a minute to go. We just want the onions to be soft. We don't need to caramelize them like we did for the French onion soup, so this should only take about 5 minutes. You want to stir your onions all together so you can get them all nice and coated in the olive oil. And then during the course of the 5 minutes, we are going to stir them as we're going. And so I'm going to set the timer, and we'll be back in 4 minutes to add the garlic. Our 4 minutes are up. You can see that the onions look good. They're nice and yellow. They're getting very soft. You can smell them. They're giving off a lot of their liquid, which is what you want them to do. And so it's time to add the garlic. And just put the garlic in here. Make sure we get it all. I like garlic. We have 3 cloves of garlic in here because I like garlic. You can adjust the garlic to how you like it. If you like a lot of garlic, you can put in more. If you don't, put in a little bit less. And now we stir this all in. And we'll give it about a minute. Our minute is up. You can see the onions are now indeed turning a little bit brown. You can see the garlic in here is turning brown. It looks very nice. This is just exactly where you want it to be. And so all we're going to do now is to stir in these tomatoes. We have a lot of tomatoes. We're going to put in our oregano here. Our basil. About a tablespoon of salt. About a tablespoon of salt. And some pepper. Now I am just estimating as to what kind of amount of seasonings I'm putting in here. I didn't look at a recipe beforehand, so it's just, like I said, a matter of guesswork. And just remember the additive theory of cooking, that you can always add something to it later. But you can't take something out. So always, if you're going to do it this way, just estimate on the low end side. Now this looks pretty good. You can see everything's pretty well coated. We're going to let this heat up for a minute here on a little higher temperature. And then we're going to let it simmer. It's been 10 minutes. We're going to give this a stir. You can tell it's still pretty liquidy though, so I know it's going to take a little bit more, but I'm going to give it a quick taste to see if we need to add anything. You can certainly smell the oregano in here as it's cooking. That smell is probably going to end up permeating the house. So you better, I hope you enjoy the smell of oregano when you're doing this. Let me give this a quick taste, see if we need to add anything, see how these tomatoes are doing. It tastes pretty good. So we'll give this another 10 minutes to let it simmer. Another 10 minutes have gone by. That makes 20 minutes altogether. You can see it's still a little liquidy, but not as liquid as it was before. So I think that the next 10 minutes will be the key and tell us everything. So let me give this a quick taste to see if we need to add anything. Or to let you know that maybe we put in too much of something. It's hot. It's pretty good. I actually think we're going to need a little more salt. But I'm going to wait because if that bitterness is from the tomatoes, we want to let that leach out a little bit. So we'll give this 10 more minutes, which will make 30 altogether so far. And we're doing good. It's got another 10 minutes, so that makes 30 minutes altogether. Let's stir it up again. It's still a little liquidy, but you can see it thickening up here. So we're starting to get at least near the end stages. Before, when I tasted it, I thought it maybe needed a little bit of salt, but I wanted to give it a little bit more time to see if cooking a little bit more gave it a little different flavor. And actually it's much better now. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes and we should be wrapping it up. It's been another 10 minutes. That makes 40 minutes altogether. You can tell it's pretty thick. And I'm thinking that we don't need the extra 5 minutes. And just stir this up. It's looking good. And who would have thought that that whole pan of tomatoes would have reduced down to this? Let's give it a quick taste, see if we need to add anything, or if anything needs to change. No, that's pretty good. I like that the way it is. So we are done.